to me, it seemed such a small issue. So they kind of started talking about marriage. And how marriage has been affected by religion, how marriage has been affected by tradition. But essentially, what makes a successful marriage? Is it being traditional or is it being religious? And I'm like, wow, this is such limited thinking because you're restricting yourself to two containers. And as Africans, we look at ourselves as cultural, traditional people. And then on top of that, what perfects it as we think is religion. All right? So you have traditions and cultures and then religion. Like these two are supposed to be together, then that completes a person, a well-meaning, thinking person. But no, that's not it.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely kind of far from it.
One of my least favorite questions to be asked when I tell people about how I do not believe in religion. People ask me, so who do you think created all of this? And I'm like, you're starting from the wrong point.
Yeah, exactly. Is that how far you can? Yeah, is that how far you can go?
You got this big dog.
Well, you think about it.
Yeah, no,
you think about it.
You can't tell me.
Why are you asking me? You seem go think about it, then you come tell me.
Also, I never feel like religious debates in African countries, especially, always have an ulterior motive. I don't think anybody wants to learn anything new.
No, I mean, that's a fact. You're talking about something that is static in time. Everything changes except it. I mean, what is that? It can't survive. It will not survive anywhere. But either way, my point was that it was disappointing to me to see, grown-up people, learned people, sit there and restrict themselves in finding justifications for things, in finding explanatory concepts for things, while sitting in two containers. Like, you do not observe how wide, far, big reality basically is. Like, you've got to just let go and come out and just freely think without restriction, Verses
of the book that's written by men.
I'm like, why do we? What do you think
we're doing before religion? For me, it's simple questions like that. Like,
how do we let ourselves get confused by ourselves? We write it and then we step back and say we didn't write it. Like, no, it's yours. You wrote it.
Damn good.
It's a damn good. You wrote. Don't worry about. You wrote it.
Shared imagination. It holds up more things than just that book, right? For instance, value of currencies. Another thing we have imagined. Like this is. You know what I mean? And from that perspective, it's
like from there, it's really all about measurement. In the real world, when we're doing things, we do things out of measure. You know how much water you're drinking in there. We have some sort of a measurement, and that measurement is for repetition. Yes, it's for repetition. So we have established an amount, and this amount has got this particular effect. You record it. You measure things. So we don't do things outside measurement. Per hour, how much you are worth. All right? That per hour, how much you're worth amounts to a day. Because it is also coming from the value of your work, which is quantified. Yes, which is quantified equal to the revenue that the company is generating. And out of the numbers, there are so many people. So therefore, they establish an actual quantifiable value that is attached to it. So we do things out of measure.
So that we don't guess things.
So that we don't guess things, exactly. And we can repeat things at the very same time. When I say I want one thing, one thing. Not where, what is one today? No. Maybe one could be two today. No. It doesn't operate like that. You know?
The other day I was thinking about what would this world be like if no two cups were the same. Like how you're talking about need to repeat things. Imagine the guy who invented a cup, right? And then someone comes and invents the second cup. Not that there will be two of this. The next one will be absolutely different from this. And then the next one will be a thin tube. And then you just keep doing this over time. Remember that cup from 1948? You know? But yeah, for repeating.
Because life at the very same time is really all about practicality. You know, for the same reason that we can't make a triangle, cup. The fact that it won't sit properly. So how do you want to, drink today? Spilling, So we do things out of practicality. And we are very serious about the happenings of the real world. That barely do these notions of supernatural things come into play. Nobody uses supernatural forces at work. What's happening here? No, just trying to work with God.
Jesus, take the wheel.
If you can see right there, I think that's Jesus on the keyboard. Nobody does that.
Nobody who has ever said Jesus take the wheel did it in a car.
Exactly. It can only be by mistake, and when you wake up, and that's why philosophy is very, very important. Jesus take the wheel was out of concern for the fact that we do not have the attention span that is required to be on the road moving at 80 kilometers per hour. That we probably might need assistance to avoid collisions. So we make now automated cars that we call them driverless cars. That's Jesus take the wheel. Well, now we can passengers it. You can take the wheel. GPS.
Would you trust a nigga named Jesus if he was like, can I drive your car? Hey, Mr. Moto, nice to meet you. My name is Jesus. Can I take the wheel?
No. Say what again? And then what? Where's your driver's license? Yeah, exactly. Where is your license? Because you are Jesus.
Also, based on your life story, I don't think you were anywhere near automobiles. Jesus take the donkey on the other hand.
And he did, and he did, I mean, we should more often just try and think bigger and bigger. Zoom out of this small reality in which we are enclosed. Because you see, at the very same time as black people, we have been sadly conditioned to thinking in limitation. Giving us religion and running away with it. I'm not going to use my favorite word.
Amok.
Yes.
Because I heard it like that. Run amok. This thing is out of control. That's why they needed someone to take the wheel.
Exactly. It's like completely closing and shutting our eyes to the reality of the situation. That this is quite limited thinking. Like, why are you placing my thoughts in this small little bottle?
In this small context.
Yes. While you endeavor to understand things that are way bigger than where we even are.
Yeah, why would the two boxes you're putting me in? You can only either be a sinner or not a sinner. I'm like, I want to be a rapper.
Exactly. So what happens there? I want to be an astronaut. What happens there?
So what should we do?
What kind of labels are those? Yeah. Like in limitation. Like, are you a sinner or are you not a sinner? Like, how am I even beginning to describe myself in that particular sense? For example, I am not my job. The job that I do is a small part of my life.
You're not this podcast.
Yes, I'm not this
You know what I
podcast.
mean?
Yeah.
We do not walk around being what we just did.
Yes.
We don't walk around. Like, no. Now I wake up at 8:30. I'm a wake up at 10 hours. I'm a breakfastarian.
You see, so it is quite nonsensical to accept those two positions, and also quite nonsensical to accept two destinies for you.
Especially, and I keep going back to this, there is nowhere else where this occurs, right? A very good way that I try to analyze things that occur, right, is like macro and micro things, you know, and we're just organisms at the end of the day. Absolutely. You know what I mean? So when people do things like this, I'm like, where else in your reality does this present apart from your imagination? Like, point to me the god of dogs. You know what I mean? Yeah. Who's the god of microbes? You know what I mean? And he's punishing them. You sell the hell. Cytoplasm. Those are the questions I ask. I'm like, are you guys deliberately ignoring this?
Yeah.
You know, because if you are, it's fine.
It's fine.
Let's just agree that we know what's going on here. You know what I mean? Let's just say we're playing a game. Also, me, I pretend I'm a rapper. You know what I'm saying?
You know, it is even pointless for me now so much to have a religious discussion that involves, you know, mention of the Bible and, you know, that deep religious conversation. You know, the details of Jesus.
Yeah.
You know, the details of it. That it is so irrelevant when you look at the big picture. That things that happened in a small period of time, in an infinite timeline,
is what we're talking about.
Is what we're talking about infinitely.
Yeah.
You know, I asked someone
In perpetuity.
Yeah, I'm like, you know, because if you were taken out of the infinite timeline, right, and you stood up there.
Have you watched Loki season 2?
No.
Okay, keep moving.
Yeah, and you stood there with God. All right.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. So you existed in an infinite timeline, right? In a small dot, and then God picked you out, pop, and He made you stand right next to Him to see the infinite timeline, right? And then He asks you, in this infinite timeline, where would you like me to place you? After seeing how long that existence really is, do you think it would be relevant for you to go in there and live? After seeing the infinitesimal,
What are you going to do in there?
yeah, what are you going to do in there? You find it irrelevant.
I'll go. I'll go. But for a different reason. You know, I feel like humanity has been going about it wrong. And I think I can almost pinpoint when this began. You know, it was around the building of society. The value equals, your value equals what you provide to the society. Right? So the guys who are growing the food, what. I'll go back to that moment and I'll sit them down and say, listen, this thing you're about to do is going to create money, it's going to and all of that is going to make your existence absolutely terrible. You even start dabbing things like depression, you know. So here where you are, realize that you're on a spinning ball in the middle of nowhere. You have got these resources, you can mine them for the well-being of all of you, and there's no price on anything. That's what I'm doing.
So, to want to do that is to think that infinite existence accommodates you for quite a long time. When it actually accommodates you for no time.
You're not even there.
You're not even there. Yes. you know, such that would be a small idea to go into a timeline that does not exist and go and change something that is so small that cannot even be observed in its own timeline. You see how big as a thinking God you would be. Yes.
Why do you There's none thinking. I don't know.
You know, it appears in the presentation of it. You know, there's
not much thought.
Not much thought. You know, I used to go around. You know, in my younger days. You know, telling people, Christians, say, you know, I think you belittle your God, you guys. You know, how do you tell a pastor that?
You think your God, as you describe it to me, he's all powerful, knowing, he's infinite. Why would he stop what he's doing for you?
Yes.
And that's what they say in the church, that you are special being God. He stops the world and says, Moto,
so now,
I will carry you through the storm.
So now, in listening to this idea, how relevant is this idea? How true is this idea that if you can take your mind and your brain to this level that we've just gone to, stepping out of an infinite timeline and standing right next to God, and then being asked, where should I throw you back in? It is only from the perspective of your own longevity and understanding of existence that it is not even complete. Your understanding of existence is not complete. It doesn't cover all of existence. It covers such a tiny little fraction that if it does cover such a tiny little fraction, could these limitations that we put, ideas such as God, really be true? What is that? Have you ever taken the time to understand the impossibility of there being a God? Not the possibility, but the impossibility.
I don't think
some math.
Religious people spend most of their days taking their time to question the possibility. I don't think they do that. I just don't.
You know what I'm interested in now is the rather why. Because what I've noticed is that there's no one in this world that is religious. No one is a believer.
Oh, it's business.
Not that. A member of Catholic Church, baptized member of Catholic Church, or a member of, SDA.
Can we give him a name? I just want him to have a name so that if someone's listening and that's...
I'm thinking of a name.
Yes.
Let's say Mutare.
Mutare. Okay.
Mutare.
You have humanized it.
Yes.
Mutare is for men only?
No.
So
Mutare Mwanza.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was a light bulb moment. So the reason I'm asking is this Mutare male or female?
Mutare Mwanza.
Okay. All right. Not the one we know.
Mutare Mwanza.
All right. So yeah.
Mutare Mwanza. What were we talking about?
And that
no one believes. Yes.
I was about to say that's why it was the greatest podcast in the world. Yeah. Nobody is actually a believer.
Nobody is actually a believer. You know, it's the level of dishonesty that we as people have with ourselves, that we even know the lies that we tell. No individual thinks or calls upon supernatural powers. We all know this honestly in our very own personal spaces. No one has the power of mystery. We all know this in our own personal spaces. Because your reality personally has never had that experience. But you've been forced to associate certain experiences to this notion that you find very hard and difficult to confirm because there's no sign for it anywhere in reality.
Yeah.
That's why, for example, the Bible would say, no sex before marriage.
That's another conversation. I'm very curious.
No sex before
Why
marriage.
religious people are
But we all have sex before marriage.
everybody. If we didn't, you wouldn't have to say it. Why do you think they said that? Everybody was fighting.
So, tell me, as a small example, tell me then how much you believe in these notions if you are unable to practice it.
But you see, I will tell you as Mutale, I will tell you that I've been told that I will be accepted the way I am, and he is a forever redeeming father of mine, and he understands that I'm flawed.
You know one
So
thing
what
that
he
we
has left me is a guideline of how to live life and not strict rules. I'm playing playing devil's advocate.
So let me tell you
or
then
rather
this.
God's advocate.
You are playing God's advocate. So let me tell you this, Angel Gabriel.
Today is great. I'm an angel.
Religion basically has zero power, except we acknowledge our death. And death being the one ultimate real thing that we fear. In our understanding of consciousness understanding itself at the very same time, we cannot comprehend non-existence. So obviously, even at your time of passing,
Something must happen.
something must happen
There must be
because you have this awareness, consciousness, which basically shows no end. shows no end. It's infinite because it is the one that actually even computes the idea of infinity. Such that at that time when bodily function cease, you are compelled to think that there is a life beyond, an afterlife. Religion enters now into this realm in which you know absolutely nothing about, but you have hypothesized, and it knows you have hypothesized. So it says, okay, so since mwapanga imwe life after death, how are you going to be in life after death? And it creates a body of knowledge out of imaginations for what happens after life. And then in it starts to build structure. And the strongest structure in there is between good and evil.
What serves me
And it says, as you pass on into this world that you do not know, because obviously you're not going to end. Consciousness has not allowed you to comprehend that ending of you going into oblivion, nothingness.
You cannot compute zero.
Yes, you can't compute zero. So it just can't end like that. So obviously then now we come in to create an imaginary world. So I would like for people to understand that religion starts after death. And there's no after death. Because a human being is by body, is by physics.
Your mind, your brain is an organ.
Yes, you don't exist in the air. Because I asked someone, okay, spirit, what form is it? Or it's just a spirit. Muela, ma particles, what is it? How is it comprehending things and how is it having awareness? What form is it? And you find that someone is not able to explain that because they are forgetting that for anything to be, there must be form.
Yeah, there are rules to this reality.
Yes, there has to be form, So you cannot expect your mind to steal form without form. Your brain is a physical thing, as you said. There is stuff that is physically happening.
It's an organ.
Yes, it's an organ. Stuff that is physically happening. Chemicals and electricity. Am I right?
Try hitting the back of your head.
Yeah,
you understand something about what's doing that.
Exactly.
You have a short circuit for a few seconds, and you should ask yourself, why?
Yes. Exactly. Why? How has this affected me?
Yeah. What was that?
Yeah. What was that? So now you are in spirit form. How can you say what was that? Because what are you interacting with? So these are clear indicators that these things are clearly 100% things that we have generated by our minds.
I usually ask people this: where do you think spirits go when they are not haunting you? You know what I mean? Because if by the count of all the accounts since human history, there should be a place somewhere where the spirits, there have been a lot, and it's not the same one. So let's just look at this mathematically. Where are they?
Yes.
Right
where
now.
they are fitting.
When they're not haunting you, do you think they are kicking back, relaxing? Do you think some of them crochet? Do you think they have hobbies?
Yes.
You know what I mean? I've got to go and haunt someone. I've got to leave this Lego set that I was building to go and haunt more from Kabwe.
So you see that really at the back of our minds, everybody thinks this. If we're able to joke about it, everyone thinks this.
Yeah.
But it's just that because your mind has never gotten used to traveling far, you come back quickly. No. You go to the edge of your thoughts, you quickly come back.
Is one of the like Africans are very afraid of getting mad. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Information scares us so much that we're like,
so much information.
You know what I mean? That's too much, man.
Yeah, no. This book, 500 pages of knowledge. My brain is not that big. Yeah. And you leave it alone. Not knowing that the way a CCTV camera works, it's a very interesting device because it tries to mimic what the human being does or an animal does. But I'll say a human being because we are more advanced. That you've got peripherals such as your eyes that record everything as you are awake. And you've got a brain, which is a storage system in which all of these recordings go and sit. This is what a CCTV camera does. So it will record everything. But it fails to record everything because it can't play back everything. It will record maybe up to a month or two of data. Then after that, it will erase because it has run out of space and then, starts to, do that again. Yeah. So there is limitations.
It's kind of how you can't remember everything.
But you can. So this is the thing. We always need to know the value of stimulation. The brain never forgets anything. The fact that now Bukolu Chelo, the time now is 14, and you are still here. Functioning, interacting with others, doing things.
Like a time now.
Drinking water. You have forgotten nothing. The interesting thing is that in one instance,
that was my girlfriend leaving. Just in case you guys think I'm single. That was my wife.
yes. When choosing anyway, definitely.
Don't feel left out.
Yeah. Ni pesa twachiba pasuma sana, I think.
Oh, it's gone.
Namona mulawata
Inikale. You were talking, we started from new information and how it scares us.
Yeah. And then we went a bit further.
I started looking at my girlfriend.
Yes.
Bums, they just get me. Sorry. How do we unentangle ourselves from this as a society? I know, like, we know that it's time is going to, time will do what it does to all things that have been like that. You know, for instance, at one point we were worshipping the sun. Time changed that. You know? Because information
increase. No, you guys don't learn. You think it's just to know things in this time? They are long. You know, there's 5,000 years to come. You know, your sun is going to go out in 3-point-something billion years. You know, by that time, you know,
I was thinking about.
You can't even comprehend.
I was thinking about Twitter recently. And what it looked like when I joined it, and what it looks like now, you know. And I was like, I was here in 2009, you know what I mean? When it was just this site for like obscure, like what I assume Telegram is now, you know. It's just like a small group of people who, you know, and I watched this thing just mushroom, you know. So much so that in the beginning, you had to, if you wanted to post a picture, right? Like, you know what they call a tweet pic. If you wanted to post a tweet with a picture under it, you had to link it. There had to be a link for that picture. You know.
You have just opened my mind a bit further about what we refer to as alternate reality. That in our thinking about alternate reality, is that it is quite limited in the sense that we create alternate reality by virtue of the idea of decision making in time. And therefore you have decision making branching off into alternate realities or universes. So a universe where you and I are not recording today because we're busy with something else creates a different trajectory for our lives. And so it infinitely goes because decisions are being made at every instance of time. So that gives birth to an infinite alternate reality world.
You're thinking, I think you should watch the Loki.
Now, my mind's opening up to this about alternate reality is very different. Alternate reality is, for me, out of the idea that there is nothing that is impossible. In the sense that in the tinkering of the universe by us human beings, we have been able to bend it in certain ways. But in its expansiveness, I don't think that is the alternate reality. The alternate reality is having not have invented completely throughout our infinite existence something.
It's kind of why I said I would want to go back to the beginning. You know what I mean?
Because imagine simple things such as we never invented music. It would be something we would not totally think about and know about. It would be zero. there would be zero information there.
On that, yeah.
But there is a reality in which music exists.
Yeah.
So which other reality in which something that I cannot even describe in this reality exists elsewhere? That for me is alternate reality now. That it is not in its simplification where there is an association of the human mind creating an alternate reality out of decision making, but an alternate reality of something completely unknown.
Yeah.
Because that alternate reality is familiar.
Yeah.
You can go to it and you would understand. You would understand. There would be a relationship.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, no. Actually, an alternate reality is something that is quite alternate from this reality completely.
Yeah. Very much so.
That is New Age thinking.
It's kind of what I like about Rick and Morty. They show things like imagine a reality where phones are people. You know what I mean? And I like when they push those concepts. You know, because we consume it as a cartoon, you know, but I think it's helping us start to rationale this, you know, even just the concept of their infinite realities, right? They sell it to you like this cartoon, but people are now getting around to it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay, I see. You know, I really like that aspect of them, and alternate realities is explained really well by you, sir.
Oh yeah, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. But you see, it was
say wonderful for you because I was complimenting you. Hey, Moto, you're looking good today. Wonderful. What?
You know, your ability to say it, you know, that is wonderful.
It's kind of why we do this.
Yeah. No, you said it. That's wonderful. You know, because it's also very good for you to give compliments. It's very healthy for you to give compliments. You know,
I wish more human beings would give compliments.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's been. I didn't want today. I had an entirely different topic.
I know,
but we have gone so far down this rabbit hole. Episode number 3, shitting on religion. But I guess it's in the public conscious as well, right? Because I'm watching a war about this, you know, and it's not only am I watching a war about it, I'm watching my peers' opinions about this war, all right, and whose side to be on and why, you know, and I'm like, when are we just going to stop and say this thing is very toxic? Like it's bad for us.
Anthony Blinken. Sapanga Pawagamba reversal statement on position they did not hold on this Gaza-Israel, Palestine-Israel war, you know, and it's seeing how complicated violence is, you know. You start something and then you think it's going to look okay. It's shit that happens every day.
You've done this before.
Yeah, we've done this.
You know what I mean?
But times are changing.
Yeah.
The world has got more eyes than before. It's got more loud opinion than before.
See it in real time.
You know, it changes.
Kids,
yes,
you know?
it changes easily globally. You know, and things can shift in mysterious ways. You know, such that your business, which you thought would be affected positively, is now affected negatively. You've simply not accounted for the time. You see, your old ways of running the world do not work today. You see, it's old men sending young men to war. You know, these old men are still stuck in old ways of going to war. So there's no reason why young men, we as young men, should be listening to old men ways of, you know, going to war. Because it's not working today.
Yeah.
It's not even in your favor. Because you see, you have to understand this, that the fight between Israel and Palestine, in this particular instance, is that the Israelites should know exactly that there is going to be a population of people that are going to hate them at the core forever. And you can't change this shit.
Remember Germany?
Yeah, you can't change this shit. You must know that you are now going to live in a world of shame. That even your children's children are going to carry that burden, as the Caucasians do when it comes to slavery. That it is still very loud in the United States. That there's still so much tension. You must know, in 2023, I think we must be a bit more intelligent to learn that violence is not the way to go to war in 2023. This is the 21st century. You know, when I went to primary school, boy, violence was the way.
Yeah.
You know,
order of the day.
Yes, it was the order of the day. When your class teacher time you go, Scott, you come 10, 5, what? You know, hold assembly, they whip you in front. It was quite violent.
Yeah. But that is getting whipped in front of the school.
Exactly. Yes. They give you that muscular teacher to carry out the whipping.
Ours was Mr. Daka.
We had also Mr. Daka.
Yeah, this special
Chito, dark gentleman.
Slim.
Yeah,
very quiet.
Dangerous.
Yeah.
Mr. Daka.
Shit, we got
dangerous man. He was our headmaster.
For real?
Yes.
He used to walk into class and say, the first time I heard him say this, he said, listen, I don't even want to whip you because the last person I whipped soiled their pants. So, like, just behave, man. You know what I mean? Like, just behave. And then you see him in action, and you never do it in public. Talk office, people came back changed.
Same nigga. Yeah. He would whip you in his office. He closes the door. You just know.
That was nuts.
Huh? So you see, but that's not how young people are being educated today.
Yeah.
The methods have changed. This is obviously also something that was mainstream practice, even in the West.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it's learned behavior.
Yes, but
because you are beaten.
But as time has gone by and we've gathered knowledge, we have learned, experienced, we know somehow what works and what doesn't at a particular point in time. There is always that constant growth, change in motion.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. I totally agree. We agree on this. You know, I don't think
so I think
should be raised like that.
So it makes me realize how, you know, we are collectively still very primitive. Yeah, because we sometimes even put the wrong people in control, you know, of our lives.
I mean,
you know?
if you subcontract all your decisions to a deity, you can see how you subcontract more important decisions in the wrong way. You know, it's really that simple. It's really that simple. You've got a history of making terrible decisions. Sorry, you know. So this fits right in properly. You know, like you've done what I thought you would do.
It's how we subscribe to political parties.
That's what I mean.
Exactly. It just, you know, cascades.
Yeah.
You know, you subscribe to political parties and you then create a reality out of a narrative from the expressed beliefs, objectives of that political party. A lot about you is informed by the ideals of your political party. So you become a lot.
Sometimes your morals even get skewed in that direction.
So you become a lot too aligned to one small thing. Such that when people sometimes in WhatsApp, groups, you're having conversations maybe about politics, they would quickly throw in, say, you are a UPND member, Kada, what? And I'm like, I don't subscribe to
any of those
things
ideals.
because I cannot limit my understanding of, the running of this country to this one specific grouping.
I'm not as binary as you are.
There is something that I need to understand, and that is the ambience. The ambience, the look of my environment. I must understand things in generalities. Yes. I must understand things in generalities, and I must not allow my brain to be captured by one area of knowledge. Yes. Knowledge is quite broad, so you cannot begin to hold relationships with knowledge areas. Strong relationships with knowledge areas that make you think, or rather even let me put it this way, don't have monogamous strong relationships with specific knowledge areas. Monogamous with a knowledge area. You are basically limiting your understanding of reality around you. Because na society mo wakula bakamba zanga neba mu Muslim Christian udia umbi pa mu agnostic udia umbi pa shanchan very kind of Satan is by the corner there pani ba spider Kali udia papa bond pa muntu so you shouldn't entertain limitations of your mind by quickly jumping into these boxes and allowing these boxes to consume you, because you are jumping into one box out of a sea of a trillion other boxes.
Yeah.
So stand above and see the boxes and kind of approach reality in that way.
I've been looking at a wave.
Fair analysis.
I've been watching a wave of Christians becoming non-believers and jumping into conspiracy theory land.
I mean, that's the first tournament.
I've been watching. I'm like, you're literally jumping out of the frying pan and into the fire. You're still thinking the same. You know what I mean? You think they are lizard people.
It's just another pan, probably.
Yeah.
At least no idea of fire. It's very different, No, it's from one pan, into another pan. Maybe you could go fade a pan. Or maybe it's an even smaller pan.
Or
but
maybe
it's a new pan.
It's a thicker pan, so it takes a while to
cook.
So and they're thinking, this is not a pan.
Yeah.
This must be. What's your closing statement on this?
This episode was not about religion.
It was about thinking. It was about critical thinking.
Yes.
A thing that I believe the societies that adopt it into their policies moving forward at this time we're in 2023 are going to be the powerful societies. Otherwise, evolution will happen to us as well. You know what I mean? Like
we have bigger things to compete with right now.
The elements, for one.
Yeah. One of those things, and I will briefly always mention, the advent of artificial intelligence, because this is an area that we have achieved immediately. Actually, if you want day, if you want day, na fibo bakamba. I mean, so
that one day was.
No, I don't mean it. I don't mean it that way. But you know, artificial intelligence has been in development for a very long period of time. But its achievement beginning this year was very, very different.
Yeah.
It opened up whole new conversations, you know, around the power of computing, you know, and a whole new conversation around the power of everything. That is according to me. That what does it take to have a system that can do anything?
What are the possibilities?
You know how we think, for example, that our lives are disorganized and we cannot determine a trajectory for one's life? With artificial intelligence, imagine the incorporation of all aspects of your life being organized, being analyzed, being understood, therefore determining action, therefore completely determining tomorrow.
Give you enough time to do other things.
Yes.
as society.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
We are talking about now endless possibilities of, imagine sitting here and in the face or front of a computer and saying, make me a movie, and this movie should look like this, blah, blah. You begin to describe it. And this machine begins to build and make the movie by instruction of your words.
Yeah.
This is something that we have made now. So how big of a system can you now create? How big of an idea can you process? Because it looks like it is an endless system that can do everything that we know at once. Do everything that we know at once. So when I say it has opened up a whole new conversation area, is by virtue of understanding such ideas as possibilities in the near future. And therefore, it is to question the relevance of your presence, human consciousness.
And another illustrious episode full of insights. What do you think we should call this one?
Go home. I think go home is, we need to go back to our own thinking.
Or go home like that.
Yeah, we need to go home to our own thinking. You know, we collectively think too much sometimes. You know,
About nothing.
yeah, about nothing, absolutely. And we forget that when we are on our own, we don't think. We are, I don't know what we're doing when we're alone, but you know, when we're alone, we could be watching TV. You know, you are thinking about what is on the screen, you know. So go home is going to understand things on your own. Because we are so fond of painting pictures for one another. You know, and these pictures are so very confusing because none of us go home and bring these pictures from our homes.
Yeah.
You know, we gather things in the world quickly, and we make things that look like pictures and we present them.